I want to ask you something, and I want you to actually feel into this before you answer. What does Sunday feel like for you? Not what you do on Sundays, not your routine, not your plans, not whether you go to church or brunch or the grocery store. I'm asking about the feeling. The one that usually shows up somewhere around 4 or 5 in the afternoon when the lights start to change and something in your chest just tightens. You know the one. I used to play soccer on Sundays quite a bit. I mean, I still play soccer, but on Sundays, that was like my religion. And I want to tell you about that because it taught me something I didn't expect. The pitch was the only place where everything else disappeared truly. For the whole day, and I mean the whole day, I was just a woman running after a ball with her friends. No emails, no Monday looming, no to do list screaming at me from the back of my mind, just the grass and the ball and my lungs burning in the best possible way. And I was free. Free for those hours. I was completely, totally free. But then the sun would start to go down. And I didn't even have to be home yet. I'd still be on the pitch, still technically in my free time, and I could already feel it coming. That shadow, that weight settling back onto my shoulders before I'd even picked up my bag. Because I knew the moment I walked through that door, it would begin. The getting ready for Monday, the lunches to prep, the clothes to lay out, the alarm to set, the whole ritual of preparing myself to go back to a life that, somewhere deep down, I had stopped choosing. You know that feeling, that dread was not an accident. It was not anxiety. It was not even ingratitude. It was information. And today, I want to help you read it. We have a lot of names for the Sunday dread. We call it anxiety. We call it stress. We call it just being tired. We scroll on Instagram to numb it, pour a glass of wine to soften it, turn on a show we've already watched 3 times because familiar is easier than feeling. We do everything except listen to it. And here's what I want you to really sit with. What if the Sunday dread isn't a problem to fix? What if it's a signal to hear? No, your body's not broken. Your nervous system is not overreacting. That pit in your stomach every Sunday evening is your inner compass doing exactly what it was designed to do, pointing you away from the thing that isn't right for you anymore. Think about it this way. We don't dread things we love. You don't dread Sunday night if Monday means waking up to something that lights you up. The dread only shows up when there's a gap between where you are and where some part of you knows you're supposed to be. And for a lot of us, especially women who have been good girls, responsible girls, do the right thing girls, we were never taught to take that gap seriously. We were taught to manage it, push through it, be grateful for what we have, and stop being dramatic. You know what I'm talking about? But what if the gap is the most important thing about you right now? I want to say something that might feel a bit uncomfortable. The Sunday dread is not your enemy. The Sunday dread is the most honest thing about you. It is the one moment in the week when the noise gets quiet enough that the truth gets through. And the truth is, something needs to change. When the Sunday dread shows up for you, what is the very first thought underneath it? Not the anxiety, not the to-do list, the thought you push back down. What is it? What is it? Let me tell you what I think the dread was actually saying to me on those Sunday evenings at the soccer pitch. It wasn't saying you hate your job. It wasn't even saying you need to quit. It was saying something much more specific than that. Although I did want to quit so many times, and when I look back at it, it was saying you just spent an entire day being fully yourself. You were present. You were alive. You were in your body, in the moment, connected to the people you love, or maybe not love. We don't always like our teammates. You're doing something that had nothing to do with performing or even achieving or being useful to anyone. And now you have to go back to a version of your life where that you, or in this case, that me, the one on the pitch, doesn't really get to exist. And that is what the dread was morning. Not Monday, not the alarm, not the commute. It was mourning the version of me I had to put back in a drawer every Sunday night. Like, even just saying it out loud just makes me feel like a pit in my stomach. I want to ask you something, and I want you to be really honest with yourself as you drive. When are you most yourself? I'm not asking when you're most productive or most impressive or most on top of things. I'm asking, when do you feel most like you? When does the version of you that is easiest, freest, most alive get to come out and breathe? Is it on a trip somewhere? Is it with a certain person? Is it in the morning before anyone else is awake? Is it when you're in the city you've never been to, a country you never landed in, walking streets you never walked with absolutely no one expecting anything from you? Because I'll tell you what I discovered. I'll tell you what. The version of me that came alive when I traveled, the curious one, the brave one, the one who could walk into a room full of strangers and feel excited instead of exhausted, that woman existed. She was real. She was me. She just didn't have much room in the life I had built. And so when I finally moved abroad, multiple times, by the way, when I actually packed my life into bags and got on a plane and started over somewhere new, do you know what happened to the Sunday dread? Do you know what happened? It disappeared. Not because my new life was perfect, not because everything was easy, but because I was finally living in the direction of myself. And when you're moving toward the right thing, Sunday night feels different. It feels like the beginning of something, not the end. So for you, what does the freest version of you look like? Where is she? What is she doing? And how much of your actual daily life does she get to show up in? Now, I want to talk about the stories. Because the dread doesn't show up alone, it brings friends, and those friends are the stories we tell ourselves about why we can't do anything about it. I know these stories because I told every single one of them. Story number 1. This is just what being an adult feels like. Everyone dreads Mondays. This is normal. I'm not special. I should just get over it. You ever heard that one before? Like, this is what adult life is supposed to feel like? Story number 2. but I have responsibilities. I can't just up and change my life. I have a house to take care of, a mortgage. People depend on me. My mortgage, the student loans, the debt I owe, the family who would worry, the friends who would think I'm having a breakdown, that I'm just escaping my own life. Story number 3, things will get better. A new project, a promotion, a vacation coming up. Just get through this patch and it'll feel different. It always feels different eventually. Have you ever heard those stories before? Have you ever had those thoughts come into your brain, your mind? Here's what I want to say about those stories. They're not lies exactly. They contain truth. Adulthood is hard. In fact, I say it all the time, and I try my best not to say that, right? Because we get to choose. If we are not changing, we're choosing. Responsibilities are real. Things do sometimes get better on their own. But those stories can also become a very comfortable prison. Because if I can always explain the dread away, if I can always find a way why it doesn't mean anything, why I should ignore it, why now it's not the right time, then I never have to face the scarier question. Which is, what if this dread is pointing me towards something? What if it's not a problem to manage, but a direction to follow? What if the life I actually want is sitting on the other side of the very thing I keep talking myself out of? I spent years treating my Sunday dread like a fire alarm. I needed to silence. Pouring water on it, covering it up, finding ways to not hear it. What I should have been doing was looking for the fire. Because the fire was real. It was always real. And the fire, that burning, restless, inconvenient, knowing that something needs to change or something needed to change, that fire eventually became the thing that changed my life. What story are you telling yourself about why you can't change your life right now, in this very moment? And what would happen if you just stopped believing in it? Okay, so you've been driving and you've been probably feeling some things that I've been sharing, and maybe your commute's already done. Who knows? Maybe things you haven't let yourself feel in a while. Maybe you haven't really allowed these feelings to come up to the surface. You've been pushing it down because you don't want to deal with it because there's so many other things that you need to handle and manage and to be tasked with. Maybe you've got a lump in your throat or a thought you can't shake or a question that just won't leave you alone. Good. Honestly, good. That's exactly what's supposed to be happening. I want to give you something to do with all of it. Not a 10-step plan, not a big dramatic decision, just one small thing. I want you to text a friend. Specifically, I want you to text the one who gets it, the one who also has a version of this dread, the one who's also been quietly Googling cities in Portugal at midnight or saving Instagram reels about women who packed up their lives and moved to Spain, or who said, I just feel like there's more out there over wine one night, and then laughed it off as like she was just kidding. Text her. Go ahead and text her. Tell her you found this podcast. Tell her you think she needs to hear it. Because here's the thing about the Sunday dread. It's lonelier. It's very lonely when you carry it alone. And the moment you say it out loud, even in a text, even to just one person, something shifts. It stops being a shameful secret and starts being a real conversation. And real conversations Real conversations are where real change begins. The dread you've been feeling is not a flaw. It's a compass, and it has been trying to point you somewhere for longer than you've been willing to admit. You don't have to know it yet. You don't have to know where. You don't have to have a concrete plan. You just have to be willing to stop silencing it and truly start listening. Because somewhere out there, probably in a country or a city with cobblestone streets and coffee that tastes like a reason to slow down, there's a version of your Sunday that doesn't feel like dread at all. And she's waiting for you. This was episode 2. Thank you for being in the car with me. Go text your friend, and I'll see you on the next commute.